Beautiful. Welcome back to St. Augustine Live and Local, everybody here. I am with Douglas. Which do you prefer? Arrington.
Doug. Fine.
Doug Arrington. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So, first of all, what's the name of that piece you just played?
I don't know. It's just
it's just a piece.
It's a practice piece for me.
Just a practice piece. It's
and then
it's
when I got
gorgeous.
the 12, it sounded so good on the 12. So
It sounds amazing.
yeah.
I do have to ask, it's an instrumental piece, and you've played it capoed up one.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason you
Yeah,
like the sound
guitar,
of it?
Yeah, the guitar got the guitar tuned down one step. So not that Gibson recommends that or anything. It's just
Because it's a 12 string, you're just
Yeah,
lowering the tension on it?
yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds amazing.
It confuses me at times. And it confuses other people too. So I have to. And even after you've been told, or even if your mind knows that, you still are searching for E7, and it's not on where the diamond is. It's
That's right.
a fret away, you know. So,
You gotta retune your brain.
yeah.
So tell us about that guitar, because it's gorgeous. It sounds gorgeous, and it's a beautiful looking instrument.
Yeah. Well, the sixth string here next to it, Louise, she's the same exact woods. She's a little darker because it's I don't know, 10 years old or so, 12 years old, and but it's all maple sides and spruce front, and the bridge is and everything. So I wanted to get a 12 string on that body, and so I ordered this from the Gibson custom shop, and this is the exact same guitar in every respect.
Mm-hmm.
And except for it's bigger, of course, the neck's bigger and so forth, and it's a 12 string, and they did it.
How long have you had that guitar?
Just about 3 months. And,
Just 3 months.
Yeah, and it is just perfect for some songs, and not for others. It's not at all difficult to play. I was surprised. And then I was explaining this to people the other day. It's just this feeling about this guitar that the sound is so different from any 12 string, and you feel it right in this side of your body, and you just it's just one of those feelings, So yeah, it's a pretty wonderful piece of instrument to have.
And how long have you been playing guitar?
Well, I started when I was real young, and then I played pretty consistently up to the time I was in college and a little bit after. And then, I was working, just had a career, and I traveled a lot. There weren't open mics all the places I might go, and I couldn't always drag a guitar with me. So it kind of put it down for a number of years. And when I retired, or near the time I retired, about 2010, I started practicing again and thinking about repertoire and singing in the shower, trying to stay on key, and just over the years, and then practice at open mics, and then eventually I did a lot of gigs and formed a couple of bands and
Well, it must be like riding a bike, because you play beautifully.
Oh, thank you. I can't sometimes really get my bar just on there as tight as it should, and it's.
Well,
I think it's a practice of age.
Cheat a lot. Either I do the Hendrix thing with the thumb over the top, or I just play the top four strings. I imagine there's a bass player.
I got to remember that myself.
But no, you have great dynamics.
Thank you.
You have touch on the guitar. It's one of the things I really enjoy about your playing the most.
Oh, thank you.
So you're not a St. Augustine native. Where are you from?
I'm from Everett, Washington, and I come down here every year about the 1st of December, and I been doing this now. This is about the 9th year. And I started out playing here in St. Augustine when I sailed here on my boat, and I wound up staying here and selling the boat. This is after I retired. I did a little cruising around. And I started playing at a little club downtown called Tempo. and through that I met Chris and Duffy Bishop and a lot of the musicians in town, because that venue was right on the square, and all the other guys who were out working, playing during the day would go by and stop in, have a drink, say hi, and got to meet a lot of people, and so then I just kept coming back, and I played usually most every winter, either in a band or as a solo act, at different places. Some of them are closed, and so that's what I did. That's kind of my coming here, and I met a lot of really cool people through music, So yeah.
So you've already answered one of my first questions, which is how did you find St. Augustine? And it's because you sailed here, right?
Oh well, northern Florida is completely different from southern Florida. There's this thing called manners here in St. Augustine. Boat etiquette and everything else is just doesn't exist once you get south of here, and it's coming from the Northwest, sailing there and sailing to Hawaii and so forth. The rights and privileges of boats, and while they're moving, is not in question, but it seems to be in question here in Florida sometimes. But yeah, I just loved it. The climate was different. And I met some beautiful friends, and so I started coming back, and
kind of fell in love with the town, like everybody does.
Yeah, I'm always talking about it when people talk about where do I go. I give them the little history lesson on St. Augustine, the 1 minute version. Sometimes I've been drinking. It might be a 2 minute or a 10-minute version. But, yeah.
So you're actually quite an avid sailor. I understand you've had a number of sailing ships, and the smallest one I think was 50 feet.
Well, since I was growing up, since I was a grown up, I had a Challenger. I think it was a 29. I think was one of the first boats we lived on and sailed. Then I had a just about a 60-footer. It was coal molded made in Canada, and then I sold that, and then years went by, again working, careers, things like that, and I was able to buy a beautiful boat built in Taiwan, real beautiful interior and everything, and I sailed that with some volunteer crew down from Chesapeake and into the South Florida area and beyond, and then came back up to St. Augustine. It's about a year and a half of sailing. And, I kind of got my fill of the East Coast sailing, because it's not anything like what I'm used to. So I just came back and wanted to move on from the boat. It took a while to sell it, and, that sort of thing, and fell in love with the town,
So you've been playing guitar all your life, but you've also been sailing all your life. The other night at Joe's open mic, you told the story of how you appropriated, I believe it was your father's boat when you were 14. Do you want to tell us that story, or no?
Yeah, well, I can share a little bit. My dad was not a boat person. Eventually bought a sports fisher and so forth. But he acquired this boat as a chip in a poker game from a yacht broker that he was playing at his country club. And it was a 26-foot folk boat, which were, built very sturdy for use in the Baltic. And the couple had renovated this boat completely, an older couple, planning to take off and sail, because this is a seaworthy boat, not necessarily comfortable, no headroom, so forth, tiny little engine, but the boat sailed real well and was seaworthy. And they were going to take off and go places, and they ran out of money when it came to fixing the engine and paying the bills, and the yard repossessed it, and this guy owned the yard, and blah, 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 blah. So it was sitting on a buoy out in off of Lido, between Lido and the mainland in Newport Beach. And whenever I'd go visit these wealthy friends from school who had homes in Newport Beach, I would go over there and sail the boat. You know, we'd paddle over there, or we'd take a little Sabbath dinghy over there, and we'd go sailing. We sailed to Catalina many times, just myself and me and another guy, and really experienced that channel and a number of, from being totally becalmed to roaring waves and shit. That and and there's no electronics on board, and this is before they had all the stuff we have now.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of cut my teeth on that. And
I'm guessing this is 1960s, early 1960s.
Yeah, let me see. I left home about, well, whatever I was at 14. So I don't recall, sometime like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you know, after a series of, you know, fairly horrific things that happened at home, I decided I would just go for good. And but the trouble is they catch kids, you know, and you can't trust adults. If you have an adult, they really can't lie for you. They won't do it. They won't hide you. So you have to really be gone. And I came up with this idea that I would sail to Hawaii because they'd never be looking for me. And I knew I could do it. And I'd been reading and studying navigation and really wanting to do that. And I took off one night and made it by bus and so forth to downtown and switched buses there and down to Costa Mesa and paddled out and got on the boat. And I'd already stocked all kinds of things on board and everything. And sailed to Catalina and just kind of spent a day or two looking at the ocean from the top of the hill up there. And at some moment I went down the next morning, left early, and went to Hawaii.
So you had...
It was fair weather. It wasn't at all difficult.
But you had studied navigation.
Well, up to that time, as far as it was known at that time, you know. But I just knew I could get pretty close with sunspots, which is about all I could do. Mm-hmm. And I knew I had a book to help me with the calculation. It's not like I had to work it out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So...
I think you're maybe selling it a little short. There's no GPS.
No.
You got to get to a little bitty island chain.
Yeah.
That is, I'm not exactly sure of the distance from Hawaii to
well, you're dead
Catalina,
reckoning.
but...
You're figuring out. I did have a log, you know, so I could calculate how far I'd gone in a 24-hour period.
Mm-hmm.
So the elements of a formula were all there.
Mm-hmm.
And I could position myself on a chart with dead reckoning and readjust that when I took my sights.
Mm-hmm.
And outside of that, I just fished and was going downwind. The only dangerous part is approaching the islands at the wrong time between Oahu and I guess it's Molokai, I'm not sure or Maui, the one to the left.
Mm-hmm.
And the trade winds funnel in between those two high peaks, and they create a kind of a much higher wind velocity through there. So you don't want to be leaving there later in the morning, and certainly not the afternoon. You want to...
It drives the swell, right?
Yeah. You want to get there starting through it while it's still dark, and as the sun comes up, let the rising wind push you around the end of Oahu, heading towards Diamond Head and Ala Moana.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did, and when I was out going in circles at night, so as not to get closer until I was ready to leave, I was approached by a Coast Guard boat, which scared the shit out of me. I said, they finally got me, you know. But they brought me over a soda pop, and asked me what the hell I was doing. And I said, "Oh, I'm meeting my parents in Oahu, and I'm almost there." And they told me where I was, and I was within 5-6 miles of where I thought I was.
Mm-hmm.
But as the sun comes up, even the sky starts to light, and you can see the mountains of the Ku'alaus on Oahu very clearly,
Mm-hmm.
and the gap between that and the other island.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just, easy. That part was easy. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And I think you spent an enjoyable summer, if I recall the story correctly.
I did. Yeah. Spent. After I got my sea legs back, my walking legs on land, which took a while, I sailed over to Molokai and just met a whole bunch of teenagers and young kids, and we just ran around the island and fished and swam and ate at each other's houses, their houses, and played the whole summer long.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was fun. Did all kinds of stuff. These guys could climb coconut trees. And then from there, it was an easy sail. I sailed to Lahaina, and eventually I met a couple of college kids, both of them surfers, who were going to go back with me. And that's how I got back. So, yeah, I didn't want to go back alone. It's a little tougher situation.
Understood.
Because then you're going into it, So.
And it's uphill all the way.
That's a whole other part of my life. I never thought about that.
That's quite all right. Why don't you play us another song?
Okay. This is a new one I've been working on. For me, anyway. It's been by Bruce Coburn. For you kind of folk indie aficionados, I never heard of him until I heard this. And I think he has 55 albums, and he's in his 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all original music.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to add another track because I forgot that direct input. So let's do that. I'll probably cut these few seconds out.
Okay. I'll take a swig of water.
Be my guest. And I don't know how hot that guitar is. We'll find out.
Okay. Okay.
Take it away.
Sunset is an angel weeping, holding out a bloody sword. No matter how hard I squint, I cannot see where he's pointing toward. Sometimes you feel like you've lived too long, and the days drip slowly from the page, and you find yourself pacing the cage. You find yourself pacing the cage. I've proven myself so many times. The magnetic strips worn thin. And every time I was someone else, and everyone was taken in. And powers chatter in high places, stir up eddies in the dust of rain, and it got me to pacing the cave. Pacing the cave. I never knew all you wanted, so I gave you everything. And all I could pillage, and every siren song and spell I could sing. They say the world's not that fair. Bring up my heart in a flash, and I find myself pacing the cave. I find myself pacing the cave. Sometimes the best map will not guide you. You can't see around the bend. Sometimes the road leads to dark places, and sometimes the darkness is your friend. Today these eyes scan a bleached out land, waiting for the outbound stage. Sooner or later you find yourself pacing the cave. Oh, you're gonna find yourself pacing the cave. We all will find ourselves pacing the cave.
Beautiful.
Pretty
It's called
song.
Pace in the Cage.
Pacing the cage, yeah. I screwed up one verse though, but anyway.
Wow. Nobody would know if you hadn't told us. That's all right.
Somebody
find
who
it-
knows Bruce Coburn, I'll get comments from them probably, you know.
Well,
Anyway.
I often think that as musicians, we're our worst critics, and we hear all the little flaws, all the little mistakes that we make relative to what's in our head. But a lot of times the people that are listening, they have no idea.
Yeah.
And they would have no idea until they see us grimace in the middle of the performance.
Yeah, that's true. But still, it bothers you when you know, I don't think it's an obsession with perfection. I mean, I was in the studio with a great guitarist, Jerry Batista from Washington State. And Jerry was playing lead on this song. In fact, it just was released on YouTube. And he went over his lead over and over and over and over and over. I don't know how many times until it was just the way he wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And, it for the money, whatever that it wasn't anything to speak of.
Mm-hmm.
And just wound up with a brilliant job.
Mm-hmm.
And it really taught me a lesson to slow down. Part of my personality, I get bored easily sometimes, so
Mm-hmm.
constantly playing a song over and over again is something I'm working on. Been working on it for years, and I think I'm getting better at it, but it's still, I really want to move on to some other material for a while and come back to it.
Mm-hmm.
But it really helps, particularly before a performance, to not be overconfident that you know all the material and
Mm-hmm.
to play the hell out of it,
Mm-hmm.
Privately the day or before, the night before. That helps me. Of course, maybe my memory's not quite, for some reason, not quite as good as it always was.
Well, it's definitely a skill to be able to enjoy playing a song over and over and over, because really that's how you get good at anything, is it's practice. I tell that to my kids when they first try to do anything. It's hard, because we don't come out of the womb knowing how to play guitar or do math or play saxophone as my son does. It takes
He does. He plays sax.
repetition. Huh? Yes, he does. He's quite good at it, actually.
Yeah. So we put up with all that shit because we love what we do.
That is true.
And besides, I'm a heart patient, and because of courtesy of the U.S. government, or the former U.S. government, in Vietnam they decided to use a defoliant called Agent Orange, which they sprayed on a number of us. So I have a little cardiac issue, but I've been asymptomatic for a long, long time.
Well,
And music and singing turns out to be one of the best cardiovascular exercises you can do, besides running a marathon. And I can't run a marathon now. I can.
Especially if you sing powerfully as you do.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of breath support.
It does. It's all about the breath.
Mm-hmm.
How much air you blow is going to keep you on key, and of course, if you've got the lyrics that give you feeling of real connection to and passion,
Mm-hmm.
then you're going to be singing that song to express how you feel. I mean, how those words mean.
Mm-hmm.
That's the good thing about all those. If you looked at all those torch singers back in the day holding a microphone like that, if you look at how much work particularly the blues singers, the contortions of their face, the other things, the movements indicated their feel. Just like a lead guitar player he doesn't stand there like a goddamn statue.
Mm-hmm. He's got guitar face.
Yeah.
He looks like he's in pain. It's because feeling is
all musicians do when
very close to pain.
Yeah, all musicians, when they're squeezing out those notes on a sax or on a piano or keyboard or a slide guitar or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
The drummers, certainly the drummers. That's all. That's what's the vibrant energy of Latino music and rock and roll and stuff with a beat.
Mm-hmm.
It's tribal.
My son is currently working on figuring out how to growl his saxophone, and I think it will come to him when I can see it in his face, when I can when it looks like he's in pain.
Yeah.
Then I think he'll be able to growl the saxophone.
How old is he?
He's 14.
14 years old.
Yeah, he's quite good. He plays Glenn Miller, and we recorded Take 5 from Dave Brubeck.
Oh yeah.
And he's quite good. He's been playing since the 6th grade, and he's in the 8th grade now. He's in the jazz band, and just had the winter concert, and he took the saxophone solo, and so
That's so good.
super proud of him.
You know, I think you and I had this discussion before about music and education. You know, I thought my son, I never encouraged him to be involved in any sports.
Mm-hmm.
But the value of being on a team and working teamwork and so forth is really an important lesson. The brain concussions and the
Mm-hmm.
broken bones and the fights and all the other stuff is
Not so much.
is not so much. So to hear a kid getting a musical education,
Mm-hmm.
and that instead of hanging out on the street corner at 14 with his buddies, he's working on a team project with a bunch of people
Mm-hmm.
and growing musically. And when he's 30, famous, he'll be saying, "Yeah, that's what I was doing when I was that age." You know? He'll be in an interview like this, telling that story, and that's the direction he's headed, and that's a beautiful thing, you know. And I just think the whole contact sports sort of thing is not only dangerous to kids, but you know, not the best instincts that you could ingrain in a child. You know,
Well,
music brings a level of respect. You join a group of people who respect each other for their art.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of something larger than yourself right there. You don't need to be joining a team to feel you're part of something,
Mm-hmm.
you know, greater than yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, he has a really good ear. He listens to a very wide variety of music, a lot of old music. And I think some of that is my influence from what I listened to when I was playing when he was younger. But then the way it works these days is kids with Spotify or whatever have access to the entire catalog of recorded music history, and good music stays good music. It accumulates over time. So I think his favorite band right now is Pink Floyd.
Really?
Before that was Creedence, and he listens to, he finds stuff that either I haven't heard in years or I've never heard in my life, and I don't know how he got hooked into it, but it's all good. It's all good. Like I said, he really loves Glenn Miller Orchestra, that big band swing era.
Me too.
And, I do too.
That would be my dream, and I think the dream of a lot of people, is to be the lead singer with a full orchestra behind you.
Mm-hmm.
Be Bobby Darin and be there with a whole Nelson Riddle right behind you. I mean, that would be a thrill of a lifetime. I mean, people who've experienced that have experienced something that few people in the world will ever experience.
Mm-hmm. I took him to Jacksonville last time they came to see the Glenn Miller Orchestra, which they have only a tenuous connection via the name to Glenn Miller,
they play the music,
who passed away in World War II.
Yeah.
But they played the music phenomenally. Just wonderful performances, and all of the solos are improvised on the spot. They're not, it's.
He's going to be great.
Yeah.
He's going to be great. You're very fortunate.
I think so. He's got a great year.
Yeah, it solves a lot of problems in managing a kid too when he's involved in a structured thing like music.
Yeah,
and you're supporting it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd rather do that than be down there in the freezing cold on the side of a football stadium cheering on my son.
Well, I understand there's value, I think, in team sports. It depends on the coach that you get, but I was never a sports kind of person. My sons are not really into sports. They don't follow it. They don't watch it. I won't disparage it, but that's not our thing. I think music is much more my thing, and even though I came to it very late in life, I'm very happy that my son has found it early in life. I think he will be much better than I ever could be, having started at 12 instead of 39.
But anybody's free to do what they want to do, and obviously there's huge financial implications of sports and people watching it and so forth. But
yeah, it's a business.
I think society needs an outlet like that in some way. It does. Look at the gladiator things, and the football players are not much different from gladiators.
Yeah.
And not just, I'm not singling out football, but and that'll all go on whether we like it or not. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But I think it would make our society, as parents who can have some say in the future, I think it would make our society better that we have more artists.
Mm-hmm.
More artists. Even though we may not like their art because it's country or heavy metal or grunge or it's whatever it is, whatever label you want to put on it, it brings us together musically. And I've been all over the world working, and I've played in places all over the world a little bit, in a bar or a gathering of people or something. And American music is our finest export to the
I agree.
world. And everybody loves American music. Everybody tries to play American songs. It's some of the first songs they learn on their guitars and instruments, even in the most remote places of Africa,
mm-hmm.
are American songs. And imagine what our society would be if, instead of the interest in sports, maybe just 10% less, what it would be like adding that number of artists into the fold. And it brings along music lovers,
mm-hmm.
which tend to be intelligent people, who at least have discernment as far as music goes.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't hear about many violent songwriters or artists very often.
No, they take it out on the instrument.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
I don't know, that's just my...
No, I agree.
My old opinion as an old man, but that's what I think,
I agree. I think society could always use more music, could always use more art.
Yeah.
And that's, well, we're on the same page there. Why don't you play us another song?
Okay. I was wondering what to play secondly. Should probably play something a little faster. This is one I just recorded. It's not an original song, but I will play an original. Maybe I should play an original song now.
Please do.
Yeah. Okay. Something's missing in all I see. There's no space in this place. It was you and me. And I look around and it brings me down, 'cause I'm living in a blue, blue town. Heard I was singing, going out every night. The blues I'm singing are the tears I try to fight. Memories of you, oh, they're all around, 'cause I'm living in this blue town. I wanna get away, find someplace new, somewhere there's a someone I know could be true. And I wanna walk around without hearing that old sound, the sound of you and me, like it used to be in our blue town. So if I'm living or just surviving, I don't know. I go on from day to day, feeling so low. But tonight I'm gonna be singing. I'll be hanging round the blues. I'll be singing in my blue town. Oh, tonight I'll be out singing. Yeah, I'll be hanging round, but the blues I'm singing in my blue town. Ooh, my blue town.
Beautiful. What's the name of that?
Living in a Blue Town.
That's a great song. Oh. Now, you sing a lot of blues.
Yeah, I do.
What drew you to the blues?
Yeah, well, you know, there's 3-chord blues, and then there's 10-chord blues.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
You do a lot of the latter.
Well, I try to do, some of the originals I've wrote, but I also like, you know, I've got a song out called "The Ballad of Frankie and Julie May," and it's a story about my sister and her husband, and it's a cool little song, and that's on my YouTube channel.
Now, why don't you tell people how they can find your recordings? What's the name of your YouTube channel?
Well, it gets confusing because I had an old one that was up there before, but it's Douglas Arrington Music, I believe. But you can also go direct to it if you go to the website, which is www.douglasarringtonmusic.com, which is Arrington spelled with an A. So it's douglasarringtonmusic.com. And when you get there, you'll see a YouTube button, and you click on that, and it takes you right to the YouTube page. And
I'll link both your website and the YouTube channel directly in the description of the podcast. And Arrington, by the way, is spelled A and 2 R's.
Yeah, Arrington.
Yeah, the Ington is pretty straightforward, but
there's a jazz pianist out there named Doug Arrington also. Sometimes
you guys should get together.
Yeah,
dueling Doug Arringtons.
Yeah, no.
My name is. People probably know out there, my name is Michael Owen, and there's a famous soccer player from England, I believe. That
no kidding.
I think he played for Manchester United, might still be playing, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But yeah, he's very famous. And when I was in grad school in the theoretical astrophysics department at NC State University, I would get emails addressed to him from Brazilian fans in Portuguese, and this was 1996 or whatever it was, and why they thought Michael Owen, the famous footballer, would be in the theoretical astrophysics group at NC State, I don't know, but I got those emails, and I think Google Translate had just become a thing, so I would translate them and print out my fan mail and hang them in my cubicle. It was quite fun.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. I imagine that. Everybody loves praise. It's one of the foundation. particularly if it's genuine praise, any manager, good manager, any good leader knows that that's probably right up there at the top of the list of things that you need to have along with good judgment. But the praise that when you receive it and you believe it, it feels good to everybody.
It does.
And it makes you think of doing more or returning the favor, or lots of good actions come out of that stimulus, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And it strikes me that if that people that receive that kind of adulation, that have all these fans and so forth, if they're careful not to lose touch with that, they're going to really, that's going to be such a fulfilling thing for them,
Mm-hmm.
To have their music out there and to get the attention when they play. That's got to be the headiest drug known to man.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a wise policy that you reward what you want more of, right? So whenever I go around town, I love live music. That's why I have the podcast, and I try to see live musicians around town as much as I possibly can. I do have kids, so I can't be out every night. But
Mm-hmm.
when I do, I always tip the musician. Even if I'm not there even to see the musician, I'm there for dinner. I always tip the musician because I appreciate so much what they're doing, and I want them to keep doing it. And it's, in a way, it's very selfish. It's like
it's not that they're a charity case.
No.
Not a charity case. This is because you respect it.
I do.
And you appreciate it. Yeah, that's what it is.
It's certainly not charity. It's their job. It's working musicians. I mean, it might be a hobby for me, but there are so many fantastically talented musicians around this town that it's their job.
They're making a living, like Joe.
Yeah. Joe is a working musician.
And Jonathan Dotson or Jaja and so forth. These are
these people do hundreds of gigs a year. You know, and it's $5 or $10, but it's just a little symbol that says, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing. Please keep doing it. It makes my life better."
Yeah.
And,
I think that's where all of us interpret it.
I wish more people would actually tip the people that run open mics, like Joe. Joe never announces it, but I always tip Joe.
We always tip the guy who's doing it back in Washington and in Texas. I've seen that happen.
Yeah, and it's just I wish there was more culture. I understand that it's everybody wants a tip these days, and they offer you the chance to tip them at the counter when you order the food that you have to pick up yourself and carry. I understand, but I feel like there are some things that are worth tipping over, and live music is one of them.
Yeah,
so.
It really is. Really is.
How about you? I'm sorry, you were going to say something?
No, go ahead.
I was going to ask you to play a song on that other beautiful guitar that isn't even in the shot. People have not even seen that gorgeous guitar.
Oh, let me get it out. Gentlemen prefer Gibsons is what my motto is. But I've played a lot of different guitars, as you can imagine, and owned some really beautiful Martins and Taylors and and Goyas and stuff and Guilds and I've never ever heard the sound like there is in this guitar, and that guitar particularly. That guitar just blows me away. And most of the people who I've wanted to play a note or two on it and hold it, from poor musicians to really excellent musicians, just were amazed at it, and I was too, because I thought it would be a lot harder to play, because that's the way all my other 12 strings have been. The only one that isn't hard to play is in an ovation, but then again, it's an ovation. Let's see, what's that view on this one? Oh. Down by the river, the water is cold. I used to have a girl, that's alright. She came to me in a dream, slipped away like a running stream. The hours of silence, the light of the moon brings me a sense of peace. There's nothing I could do, 'cause that woman, she just won't be pleased. I see you running, but I'm not the thing. I chased after pleasure, trying to bury the pain, but it's all resurrected when I hear your name. 'Cause my love and my regret, one and the same. Ooh, the sound of a raven, the screech of an owl, that long and lonesome coyotes howl. Those old Hartford records we used to play in the silence since you went away. I chase after pleasure, trying to bury the pain, but it's all resurrected when I hear her name. Because my love and regret, they're one and the same. Down by the river, the water is cold. I used to have a girl, that's alright. She came to me in a dream, slipped away like a running stream.
Gorgeous. What's the name of that song?
Let me see. It's by Ricky, oh Jesus, my mind. I think it's Down by the River, I'm not sure. It's Ricky Springs, right? Yeah.
I'll find it.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
Ricky Springs, yeah.
I splice out all the songs, post them individually, so I'll look it up, make sure I get it right.
Yeah. Yeah. Billy Strings.
Billy Strings. There
Billy
you
Strings.
go.
Yeah.
That's a great song.
Yeah, it's real pretty. It's nice pride percussion, that C minor, C, B7s. Yeah.
Fantastic song. Well, Doug, I think I am running out of time before I actually have to get some work done. This has been fantastic. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Will you play us out with one more song?
Sure. Let's see. Well, I'll do this is my original song. This is Frankie and Julie May walked into town today to cash their welfare checks at Fred's Bijou Cafe, and they walked on down the street and they didn't have to speak. They knew time had passed them by. Frankie and Julie May got married just one day to raise a family in the usual way. First came the kids and bills, then came the pain and pills, and soon it was slipping all away. They thought they'd always be the same. They never dreamed they could die. And as they look back through the years, they know the cheers they've lived by. Frankie and Julie May can't forget the fateful day when the men came and took the little babies away. It was like any day before, and they always thought there'd be more, but their lives were going through those doors. They thought that nothing would ever change. They didn't know of the pain. As they look back through the years, they know the tears they've lived by. Frankie and Julie May Walked out of town today, didn't have much to say, it was all slipping away. They couldn't find words to speak, they felt so very weak. They knew time had passed them by.
That's a heartbreaking song.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the podcast, Doug.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.